making sure my mic's okay. So this is going to be recorded live, and I'll be posting this video later on my channel. And right now I'm going to be painting my sort of good copy on this canvas board, a snake in celebration of Year of the Snake. And yeah, so I already started with I'm using acrylic. So this is a water-based painting. And I'm using actually jelly gouache. I use acrylic for my undercolor. And I'm going to be using green. So that's why I chose red. And yeah, I'm going to talk about sort of motivation to create. It's always kind of tricky to find that sort of the right combination of motivation. Being an artist, trying to find that spark all the time, it is tricky. And I guess for me, what I've learned over the years is you kind of have to make sure you give yourself breaks when you are creating, and make sure that you kind of keep your life balanced. Having balance is so important. Balancing eating right and exercise and just simply getting outside really helps with keeping your mind clear and not getting burnout, because that's something I know a lot of us, get at times. I'm going to actually start with a lighter green and then get darker. Use darker green. But yeah, it's so important to keep balance in your life, because you have to always consider, burnout is a real thing. It's great when you get all this adrenaline with a great idea and, kind of vibing off of that. But it's really important to keep balanced. And what I mean, always be aware of taking breaks. But you can still take breaks and stay on track. As I struggle to open this up, like I'm trying to, for me, especially, I had a lot of burnout a few years back. And then I finally just got back into drawing, and like actually coloring was the first phase. I have always been an artist. I studied art throughout high school and college, graphic design. And, I remember it's really tricky learning about balance, especially when you're thrown so many things and so many deadlines of multiple projects. It's really tricky. But once you get the hang of going to bed early and having a schedule, making sure you don't skip too many meals, once you get into those better habits, it's easier to manage. And just, it's just so important to make sure, especially when you're a creative person. And sorry if anyone's chatting right now. I can't see the chat at the moment because my camera's facing the other way. But yeah, what I mean with keeping balance in your life, balance in your own schedule, know when you're starting to feel the burnout and just take a step back. Like, for instance, I was staying up kind of late painting and vibing on, I have this concept and I want to do like a whole series, which I do. And I'd like to share that process with all of you live. But, I had to like take a step back and be like, okay, I can't go live every single evening and paint, because after the lives, I find I'm so hyped up, and coming down from that took an extra hour or two, and I ended up going to bed at like 1 or 2. And then it kind of snowballs when you keep staying up so late every single night, and for me, I can't do that anymore, because I have a lot of responsibilities during the day. So I just find like doing things on a better schedule, a daytime schedule. And when I'm starting to feel burnout, usually day 3, I'm like, okay, something has to change. It's time to take a step back, rest a bit more, and then follow a better schedule, you know. But I think that goes hand in hand with motivation. When you're not burnt out, you have more motivation to create, to, try new things, to not have self-doubt. Because I find when I'm feeling extra tired, it just kind of, again, snowballs. You just feel tired and you don't want to move, and it's just not a good feeling. It's not a good place to be. And there's so many amazing things you can do instead of just being tired all the time. So motivation I think can come through when you build those healthier habits of, I got paint all over my paper here. When you build habits of keeping yourself balanced, keeping yourself, well rested, and diet as well. Trying to eat healthier. I'm still struggling with that. I'm trying to switch over to more popcorn instead of snacking on chips all the time. It's a whole thing. So really just work on little things. And I think the main thing for me was working on the sleep schedule, have certain times. I think as being a creative, I know I'm a night owl and I come up with my best sort of ideas and concepts at nighttime. So I can sort of make my schedule to be like, okay, these 2 days I'm going to stay up late, and then I'm going to make sure other things are set up so that I can sleep in a bit, and just sort of do it like that. But don't stay up. I know I can't stay up like for a whole week. I have to like limit it to like three days, just because my whole body clock gets so whacked out, and it's like my body's like, it's not time to sleep, and it takes an extra 3 days to like adjust back to my routine of hopefully getting to bed by 10 o'clock. It's a whole thing. Once I'm off, it's just, oh. So yeah, that's super important. Sleep, get that rest so that you can function at your best potential, at your highest level. But if you need to create and come up with concepts, do stay up late a little bit to come up with it, write it down, and then work on it during the day or, earlier evening. Just try to avoid too many all-nighters. So, but yeah, motivation. And I find too, when I get enough rest, it's easier to concentrate. It's easier. I work faster too. Everything's just so much easier. And, especially with the whole working faster too, because when you're tired, you're just slower and everything is just harder. It's just not a good place to be. But yeah. And then moving on, another thing I want to talk about too is, there's always so much I found growing up. There's always so much resistance to pursuing a creative career, pursuing the arts, or at least something to do with the arts. And like, I hope to be a form of sort of proof that you can make a living being creative, creating art. You can be successful. You can be successful being an artist. There's a lot of artists out there that fully make a living selling their paintings, selling their art. There's always so much stigma around artists, and it's something that I hope I can, spread the word. Because when you have a gift, it's, and if you do something, it doesn't feel like work. It's like, why should you deny yourself that opportunity to grow in that direction? And if you kind of end up doing what others tell you to do, I found I did that. And I went through a phase where I worked in an office. And again, I got so burnt out from all the office politics. And, you know, and I came to a point where I did start drawing again and finding that was the only thing that helped me heal and move on from that. Because when you're doing something that's not right for you, burnout can come very quickly, and everything can sort of fall apart. And it's like you gotta kind of build yourself up. And part of that for me was rediscovering my love of art. That's something I always used to do growing up. It's like when I was 6 years old, I always loved creating different things, different, like sort of different sculptures. I used to love using recycle, like the old school burger boxes. I used to make like little worlds inside them, like just, and I also used to get gifts from at Christmas time of doing art, and I used to love those types of gifts, doing stained glass painting. Those kits, they even have them now, different. They're like for younger kids, and they're like art kits, and it has everything included. And I used to love doing that. So just again, in case anyone's on the live, I can't see the chat at the moment. I do apologize. I'm just sort of rattling away. I'm currently painting in honor of the year of the snake and chatting about motivation. Just working on my painting. I found so much inspiration with the snake. But anyways, back to my story. I always loved creating art as a 6-year-old. And when I had that moment of like, when I had lost my job and it was an office style job, I was still doing graphic design, but it wasn't in the right environment for me. And just like art was the thing that saved me. And I still went on and got other graphic design positions, but with other entrepreneurs, and that was way more successful because it wasn't sort of that typical corporate or office environment. But yeah, it was art that saved me when I was feeling the most low. It was art that made me realize this is my talent. This is my gift to share with the world. And I also discovered, even through that job, it wasn't all bad. I worked a lot with other like new designers, and I love teaching them. I love showing them, the different design software and how to do things, how to create on a deadline, because that's something, that you got to get used to in the real world. That's one thing it's kind of hard to do in school, although my school did give us so much homework, because with everything, the more you do it, you have to build up skills. And I call it sort of that hand muscle memory of, of doing, of creating on different software. And then also learning about the different printers, scanners, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, once you learn your gift, you'll never lose. You'll never lose. You'll never feel burnt out again. You'll never feel like your life doesn't have purpose. because everyone has a gift to share with the world. Everyone has something to teach. And, you know, I really believe that. And I think now I'm going to probably add the darker green now. I have it all over my fingers. Let's see here. I'm just going to pull this off because I keep on getting it on my fingers. Let's rip this off. I want to keep it for the name, but with this palette I have, it's the Jelly Gouache. I have they have this which I love. This is great. This is so useful. So they have this. So it's okay if I rip off the cover. But yeah, it's such a kind of slippery slope when it comes to motivation and kind of like blocking out the negativity, especially with others that don't understand what your gift is, why you want to do art. What's, I used to get all that too. But why are you doing it? It's like, it makes me happy. And that answer used to be like, why? People wouldn't understand. But I mean, you don't always have to share either. That's the other thing I learned quick. Don't overshare what your goals are. Don't overshare your goals with others, only with good, close friends and family members who really know you and trust you and believe in you. It's so important to have good people like that around. I know I have a few people like that who understand my goals. As I'm trying to add a little more detail, I'm using this sort of olive green. I just love how these colors are popping. So red is the complement of green. So using that undercolor makes the green pop. And yeah, so that's usually, you have an idea about the color you want to use. It's good to use the complement as the backdrop because the white can sort of overpower and not make the colors vibrant. So yeah, that's what this is all about. But yeah, motivation. I hope creating and sharing what I'm creating motivates you to create in whatever you are working on and building skills on. Because one thing too, not enough people talk about is, being an artist. It's so many hours of work, many hours of building those skills, years and years, It takes many years to get to certain levels. And that, and at first that used to I didn't know that, especially when it came to life drawing class. Seeing others that are so detailed and they can do it flawlessly and draw someone's face in detail within 8 minutes, so quick. And once I realized, I just asked them, how can you do, how are you able to do all that? And the simple answer was they just started drawing years in advance. They started drawing when they were little kids and they just never stopped. So that just goes to show it just is practice, 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 and don't get dissuaded or don't get frustrated when people diss your work or make fun of it, or just don't get distracted by negativity. Just keep on working, keep on building your skills, and just don't give up on yourself because you got to deal with you at the end of the day. And, it's a shame if you're about to, get really good at something and then you just stop. And it's like you're so close to building a new skill. And, you know, don't let others' words stop you. Don't let other people's opinions stop you from building your skills in art. Because no one's going to understand your gift better than you. No one's going to understand why better than you. I'm just adding these. I'm going to do this on the inner part. I'm going to add sort of a shadow, a dark green shadow. I'm just trying to build up layers of paint. I'm trying to get this curve in right. Hope everyone's having a good Friday night. And that's the thing too. You don't always, if you're working on your skills, you don't always have to broadcast it. Just do the work. Just get better. And who cares what others say? Who cares what other people think? If they don't know you and understand your reasoning, or because there's a lot of people like that. I've faced a lot of scrutiny, being told, oh, an artist is so hard to deal with, and so much negativity to being an artist, and very few people who believed in me, and teachers along the way who believed in me, and my grandparents as well. So there's always a few cheerleaders along the way, but you got to really, really believe in yourself. Truly believe in yourself that you can create the life of your dreams. You can be a successful artist. And the main thing is it starts with the work. You got to put in the hours of the work. Like this will not be done tonight, that's for sure. But I've laid the foundation, and yeah, it's definitely going in the direction I like. But I find too, I let my husband help by looking at my paintings sometimes because, get kind of that tunnel vision when I'm looking at the same thing for a long time. So I always truly appreciate my husband's eye at times. And it's also good too if you have a good friend to kind of help. When you're comfortable to show someone, because sometimes in my process, I don't always want to show someone too. But yeah, again, I'm sorry I can't see the chat if anyone's chatting. I do apologize. The camera's facing the other way. But this is part of a series of paintings I'll be sharing on live or in video. I'll be sharing as well of the process of painting my new series of the snake for the year in honor, in celebration. Sorry if I saw someone. In celebration of the year of the snake. I'm always listening out in case one family member comes downstairs. And I'm just trying to build up these colors here. And yeah, just laying the foundation of this painting. that's okay too. I can just add it. And there's no such things as mistakes. You can always fix it. You can always fix things. I'm trying to fix this top part here. Yeah, motivation to create. Motivation comes from, it always kind of comes from within. And once you get it, grab hold of it. But always, make sure you get enough sleep. All right. I'm going to leave things off as they are, and I'll continue painting again. And yeah, so this is a work in progress. So I'll be on live tomorrow night, hopefully earlier. I'm shooting for 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I will see you all tomorrow night as I continue painting my snake, part of my snake series for the Year of the Snake. So have a good evening, everyone. Bye now.